you want to put something on Instagram once we've got a?
Oh, yes. Are we live now?
Yes, looks like we're good. We are live on YouTube. Immediately after Gonzaga absolutely trashes Norfolk State 98-55 in the round of 62. I'm going to go ahead and mute that YouTube or it's going to give me horrible feedback because we've run about a 30 second. So we'll be on here for about 20 minutes. John, just getting started off, we got PNW wins from 3 of our 4 teams, and the team that lost, Eastern Washington, put up a heck of a fight against Kansas.
Ooh.
Oregon State gets the dub. Gonzaga gets the dub. Oregon, by default, gets the dub after VCU has to drop out of the tournament, which honestly sucks. That sucks.
Sucks. Yeah.
Apparently, Gonzaga's win over Norfolk State tonight was the biggest tournament win in school history.
It's not super surprising. It was what, 43?
Yeah, 43. What are your opening thoughts? I'll actually start by asking you about Oregon State because they, as a 12 seed, mutilated Tennessee, the 5 seed, in their region. They'll move on to take on Oklahoma State tomorrow at 6:40 Pacific time.
They really have a shot, I think. I mean, especially with watching Oklahoma State struggle against Liberty. I mean, it's tough because no team in college basketball has been super consistent this year because of COVID. So, I mean, they really have a shot. They're playing better. I think they're playing better than Oklahoma State at the moment. Obviously, Oklahoma State has by far the best player and probably the best 2 players easily in the game. But, I mean, they got a shot for sure.
Definitely. I'm putting something up on our social media for all those watching, just FYI, up on our Twitter. But yeah, I was really impressed with Oregon State as well. I did pick them, a little bit of a homer pick, to beat Tennessee.
Me too.
But I did not expect that. They looked like the 5 seed against the 12 seed. It was incredible.
Yeah, Tennessee only got it to within like 12, right? Like in this whole second half, right?
That sounds right. Yeah, it was like.
Man. Yeah, I remember checking the score like sometime in the first half and seeing it 27-11, and there was like 3 minutes to go in the half. And yeah, that's when you know that they kind of have it in the bag.
Yeah, and they were hitting all their threes. And that's how upsets happen in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, yeah.
You just get hot from 3. You saw that a little bit. And did you watch the Virginia-Ohio game? Where there wasn't much offense to speak of, which makes sense. It's a Virginia game. But there was like a 3-minute stretch where Ohio hit their threes, and that was the difference.
Yeah, because honestly, I didn't think Ohio played all that great. I mean, they played really well defensively. On the offensive end, I really thought they were super stagnant and kind of just walking into whatever like contested jump shot was there. But you're right. They both teams were doing it, and Ohio hit them in that like 6 minutes to 2 minutes like left stretch. And that's what won them the game.
And branching out from PNW basketball, we'll get to Gonzaga and Eastern Washington in a minute. But right now, UCLA looks like they're gonna beat BYU. UCLA beat Michigan State, and now they're up 12 with 3:44 left on BYU. So it looks like we're going to have 5 Pac-12 teams into the round of 32 plus Gonzaga. So 6 West Coast teams out of the final 32. So I think
when's the last time that we've done this well, like the West Coast? They always are 1 for 4.
In Colorado was dominant. USC had no trouble with Drake, who was 25-4. UCLA is taking care of BYU after dusting off Michigan State, a team a lot of people thought might had a chance at an upset run.
Yeah, UCLA has a chance for an upset run now.
Oregon gets in by default, but I think it would beat VCU, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they do against Iowa.
Yeah, what do you think about that game? Because I think that's a super, super interesting matchup.
Yeah, sorry. I do too. What I almost wonder if, I mean, obviously Oregon gets the freebie into the round of 32. I hope I'm proven wrong because I'm rooting for Oregon, but I almost wonder if that's advantage Iowa because Oregon will have not played by the time that game is played Monday in
Yeah,
11 days. And Iowa
Oof.
got their legs under them today in a Grand Canyon played them pretty well.
They did. I was impressed with Grand Canyon. Like whenever I tuned into that game, I know it's going to be interesting, especially because Iowa's so much bigger than Oregon. But Oregon in general, like Ohio, Iowa has like the two biggest players in the game, but Oregon's like size on the perimeter is going to be really interesting because I mean, outside of Garza, those other dudes are not very big, and you kind of wonder if they have long athletic dudes on them, if they're still going to get those looks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think honestly, if I was a betting man, I'd still probably take Iowa. I did in my bracket, even though I'll be rooting for Oregon
Yeah,
because of Garza. I actually think Oregon's going to match and potentially even a little bit outperform Iowa pound for pound on the perimeter.
yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's
so
going to
too.
be a wash. Iowa's got some dudes on the perimeter, but
Oh
Oregon,
yeah, their dudes are
Oregon,
good.
Oregon has the perimeter defenders to kind of close out on the shooters. If Oregon wasn't athletic on the perimeter, I think it would be a blowout because I would imagine Iowa would get open looks at three. If Iowa
Yeah,
is hitting their threes, I'm not sure Oregon has it. I mean, they of course have a chance, but it's going to be really hard. And it's going to be hard for anyone to beat Iowa if Iowa is hitting their threes. But
yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
super, super interesting matchup.
We got USC Kansas. You think USC's got a shot there?
I do. Although, I mean, that'll segue into us talking about Eastern Washington, who fell by just 9. They almost had
I
Kansas.
know.
Kansas just turned out to be a little too athletic. And really, the takeaway stats in that one were points off turnovers and second chance points, which honestly makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, and unfortunately for Eastern, Tanner Groves and Jacob Groves, holy cow. Tanner Groves,
Oh
35 points.
gosh.
Tanner Groves, 35 points is the second most in conference history in the tournament.
Whew. I
Uh,
mean, that makes sense. Yeah, they're usually playing low seeds.
Eastern was close. They had the lead for a good point of the game. They led by 8 at halftime. From my perspective, I think not having a third scorer was really what did Eastern in the end.
Makes sense.
That and just Kansas was so athletic offensively, it got to the point where Kansas could score. And unfortunately, Kansas was hitting their threes.
Oh yeah.
Which if Kansas wasn't hitting their threes, man, that could have been that could have been even more interesting. But
I mean, yeah, they Eastern scored 84, and they're not even a great offensive team. I feel like they're more of a little bit of a mix. I didn't know they were
they're
like to
solid. I
come
mean,
out
yeah,
against Kansas.
84 against Kansas is really, really impressive. It's just, yeah, the points off turnovers. And I know combined the differential between points off turnovers and second chance points, Eastern was outscored by 16. So there's the game right there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and that's
Eastern
what I
just,
saw. Like looking through the stats, it looked like incredibly even everywhere. On the like team totals, like field percentage, even like turnovers was pretty even. It just must have been the live ball ones for Eastern got away from them.
yeah. And um, again, the Groves brothers, 35 for Tanner, 23, I think, for Jacob.
That sounds right.
Um,
Yeah.
Getting all that love on Barstool and Sports Center, it's great to see as an alum. And hopefully with the athletic department being kind of low on funding, I know this is going to have a lot of Eastern got a lot of national attention today. So I think that's going to, it's win or lose. That was really good for the university, which is great.
Yeah.
Even Bill Self, Kansas's head coach, said after the game, "Oh yeah, we got outplayed." Like he's like the Groves dominated, and really, I think outside of the turnovers, 13-6, Kansas forcing twice as many turnovers, I think
Mm,
was a bigger deal even than the offensive rebounds.
yeah.
Even the offensive rebounds, sure, it was still like I think it was 13-2, so that's or in second chance points, so that is a pretty big deal. Um, but unfortunately, also just a lack of a third scorer. Kim Aiken was one of 9. Jacob Davison was only
Yeah.
scored 5 points. So if one of those guys had been hitting their threes, Mike Meadows, shout out to him. What a turnaround he had this year, getting inserted into the starting lineup, totally changed Eastern season. But yeah, I think Kansas's athleticism, the fact that Kansas is hitting their threes, and just, I mean, it sounds so weird to say when Eastern still scored 84 points and they outshot Kansas. Eastern
They did,
shot
yeah.
50%, and they went pound for pound on the boards, 33-33.
Yeah,
Scored
that's what
84
really
points.
surprised me. Having not watched the game, just looking back at the box score, seeing like immediately looked at rebounds and I was like, oh, they're even. Like that's super surprising.
It was just Kansas hit a few too many threes, and that's
Yeah.
tough. I mean, a shout out to them. I mean, that's tough to do even as a favored team when all the pressure's on you to not lose. And 3-pointers are the toughest shots to hit when it's close.
100%. That's
So
the stiffest for sure.
I mean, it's tough as an Eastern fan, but also I'm pretty happy with the effort, all things considered. They played
Yeah,
about
I
as well
mean,
as they could have.
true, yeah. Especially in a COVID shortened year, how like this junk this season started for Eastern. I mean, it's not a terrible result given the draw, especially.
Not at all. And then we can just touch on Gonzaga, who won, of course, by 43, like we mentioned, against Norfolk State.
Oof.
Gosh.
They man, they don't even look like they're gonna get challenged. I mean, just looking at their like side of the bracket, I mean, they have Oklahoma coming up, and Oklahoma looked pretty good versus Missouri, but I don't think they have the offense to stay with Gonzaga. And after that, they would play Creighton or Ohio. And I mean, just I don't. Do you see anyone challenging them in their entire side of the bracket?
Kansas and Iowa, maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, Kansas and Iowa are good teams, and odds. I mean, Oregon could still get to the Elite Eight, or
yeah.
maybe I don't think
Outside
USC will.
chance at USC if they're consistent, if
Yeah,
they can find it.
right. I'm not sure if USC's been proven they've been quite consistent enough this year, but I
Yeah,
mean, you never know. It's the tournament. Crazy things happen.
yeah.
Personally, I don't think Gonzaga gets challenged until the Elite Eight at least, and they're looking pretty. They
I
looked
don't.
good.
Yeah,
They looked good to make the Final Four, and honestly, I mean, I still think they would have taken care of Virginia, but that's just another team that's been taken out of the equation for them.
I know. Yeah,
So, and no one even on the in Michigan's region. I can't for the life of me remember what region that is. In the East,
the East
they're in the East
apparently.
region. Okay, no one really stood out in that.
Not at all.
Either. Michigan, we know they've got some injury issues, and it wasn't like they absolutely thrashed Texas Southern. They got the win. Alabama was pretty good, fine against Iona, but I think
Yeah,
now, conversely, Oregon State's region, which I think is the Midwest region, I believe,
it is correct. Yes.
that region is loaded.
That region, every team left is so good. Illinois, Loyola Chicago, Oregon State, Oklahoma State, Syracuse, West Virginia, Rutgers, and Houston.
That is going to
Like,
be a dogfight.
man,
That's going to be fun to watch tomorrow. Those games
yeah,
tomorrow.
every game tomorrow, like all four of those games are going to be like such hard fought games.
I think, yeah, whoever comes out of that region will be the most battle tested for sure. I think.
For sure.
I think if you're Baylor, you're pretty excited about the fact that Ohio State got knocked out.
Yeah, I don't think Baylor. I mean, I have Texas Tech coming out of that region as my Cinderella pick, but I mean, doesn't look like there's gonna be much competition for Baylor in that side of the bracket.
Also, Abilene Christian currently leads Texas with 13 minutes left.
Yikes! And UCLA up 11 with a minute left, so it looks like they're gonna hold on for the upset win.
Yeah, which I'm not sure how much of an upset that is really, but
not too much. That side of the man. Who does the East play in the Final Four?
Gonzaga's region.
That's a terrible, that's a terrible side of the bracket. You almost wonder if
knock on wood,
Colorado's
you
got a
never
shot at it.
know. COVID issues.
Yeah,
Knock on wood,
that's
COVID
true.
issues, injuries, you never know. Does Gonzaga get challenged until the championship? Like, honestly, right now, I'm not sure
I
they do.
I mean, especially because I'm really not convinced. I think Iowa would be the hardest team for Gonzaga to beat and the toughest challenge for them. And I like honestly do not believe they'll make the Elite Eight. Um,
Hmm.
I think that they would be the most challenging. I think they would challenge Gonzaga, especially because they've played them before.
Yeah.
But I mean, I I don't know.
Um, Now, if Michigan gets livers back, they of course can challenge Gonzaga. We saw how good
100%.
they. We saw how good
And
Michigan can.
they are significantly worse without livers.
Yeah, and Alabama is still a good team and they're athletic. So, I mean, it's not like it's. Of course, it's the tournament. It's not a given that Gonzaga is gonna even make the Final Four of the championship. But
It's not. I mean, but I mean, it looks like there's going to need to be something really surprising.
yeah, yeah. Well, looking ahead to tomorrow, the only PNW game we've got out of the three that advanced. Um, we've got Oregon State and Oklahoma State, which is a fascinating matchup. We were talking about a little bit before we
Yeah.
went live. You know,
Yeah.
the odds still favor Oklahoma State just because of the athleticism and the star power that Oklahoma State has. Um, but man, that's an I'm excited to watch that game for sure.
Me too. It's yeah. You almost you almost wonder like uh if Oklahoma State like pulls away early, you wonder like if they can maintain a lead.
Hmm.
Because I feel like Oregon State's just kind of like claws so much that like it doesn't even matter if Oklahoma State like starts strong or not. Like that game, I feel like Oregon State's within striking distance no matter what.
Um, I picked Oklahoma State in my bracket, but of course I'll be rooting for Oregon State for sure to make that
Me
Cinderella
too.
Sweet 16.
Yeah.
If Illinois beats Loyola Chicago, I don't think Oregon State has much of a chance against Illinois at all.
No, I
I
think
think Illinois is so good.
Kofi Cockburn like and how long Sumu is. I mean, yeah, they would. I feel like especially because how smart they are too. I mean, they're you just get Sumu in the middle of the zone, and then it's game over.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So that'll be the only game tomorrow. Oregon State, if they're able to top Oklahoma State, which would be another upset for them, would take on the winner of, like
Yeah,
we just mentioned, Illinois and Loyola Chicago. Um, Illinois Loyola Chicago is actually the first game tomorrow morning at 9:10. And Oregon State Oklahoma State is the last game of the day at 6:40 East Pacific time.
dang.
So, gosh, a lot of good matchups tomorrow. Just kind of looking around. You got West Virginia Syracuse, which might have the lowest combined point total in NCAA tournament history.
Got 25 to 21.
Texas Tech plays Arkansas. A lot of people have Texas Tech on that, and what would technically be an upset. I'm not sure it really would be.
Yeah, that's a fun game too.
And Oral Roberts, can they continue the magic against Florida?
Oh man, I do. What do you think? Do you think they are able to pick up another win?
100%. I was not impressed with, even though Florida was able to beat Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
I mean, I know normally teams that pull a massive upset like an Oral Roberts did typically flop in the next round. But with how unimpressive Florida was, I really don't know. Like, I really think they have a chance. And I'll be honest, I think Houston Rutgers is now an interesting game. I wasn't
yeah,
really up to speed on Rutgers much. I picked them over Clemson, so I'm happy because I, want to get things right.
yeah,
But yeah, that'll be
yeah.
interesting. And then
No,
on Monday, we'll have that big Oregon Iowa game. And then
ooh,
Gonzaga plays Oklahoma. We don't have times nailed in for Monday yet,
yeah. I
but
imagine they'll come out in about an hour, hour and a half whenever the games are over.
when the games are over, right? Maybe not even until tomorrow morning, to be honest, but
Yeah.
because I don't, yeah, we shall see. Um,
Do you
but
have
yeah,
do you see any Cinderellas in there? You see any double digit seeds making the final four or Elite Eight?
Ooh, gosh. I think Syracuse has a chance just because of their defense.
Yeah.
I don't see Oregon State just because of the Illinois hurdle.
Yeah, I don't either. You think Earl Roberts got a chance? They would if they win play Arkansas or Texas Tech.
I'm not sure they can. I think they'd get out coached by Chris Beard if they played
Yeah,
Texas Tech. Chris Beard's a
yeah.
really
No,
good
the
coach.
athleticism of Arkansas. I mean, that's tough. You got
Right.
North Texas. You think they could beat Villanova and Baylor?
No, I do not. They could beat Villanova. I don't think they can
I
beat
completely agree,
Baylor.
but not Baylor. Got UCLA. Do you think they could beat Texas or Abilene Christian and Alabama or Maryland?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good one. UCLA might have a chance to make a bit of a Cinderella run here. A blue
They
blood making a
might.
Cinderella. That'd be pretty interesting.
Pretty crazy.
That would be. Well, yeah, Abilene Christian up by 1 now. Okay, Texas just hit a jump shot, but gosh, that would be a pretty massive upset.
I know. I'm extremely surprised.
And it makes me, as an Eastern fan, wish Eastern hadn't gotten Kansas because I actually think Kansas. Well, I think West Virginia might be better than Kansas, but Eastern got one of the tougher 3 seeds.
They got. I honestly think Kansas is a better team than Ohio State was as a 2 seed.
It seems like it.
I mean, it's obviously easy to say that now too, but
Right.
I mean, Ohio State was a very inconsistent team during the season, and I know Kansas was such. I was really ready to pick Eastern Washington as an upset, like partly as a homer pick, obviously, but like partly because like I knew they were going to be like pretty good. But yeah, the Kansas draw. That's that's what did it.
We'll probably call this live stream for tonight. We're gonna start doing this once a week. Hopefully, we'll have a live stream after a Blazer game or an NCAA tournament game or what have you, just to kind of get some more engagement going up on our YouTube channel. You can find us and subscribe to us at Ball Starters. Same place you can find us on Spotify for sure, SoundCloud if you're into that, and then on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And coming up this week, we're going to be recording a new podcast. We've got a pretty cool guest coming on, former Oregon point guard Casey Benson, who was on the team during their Final Four run in 2017. He's playing professionally in Slovenia now. He'll be tuning into the podcast. We'll record that late Monday night with the time gap between here in Slovenia, which is in Central Europe. So we'll record that Monday night, get that up around Wednesday or so. So make sure you tune in for that. So we've got a lot of fun content coming. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. We should be going live. Pretty awesome. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Feel free to watch this afterward as well. It'll go right to our channel if you want to recap, and make sure to tune in. We'll sign off now.
Peace.